Having a day.
Hey, George. So I think what we should do, put in the budget, is to alleviate the cat problem.
You do what?
The cat problem.
How are we gonna do that?
Litigate it. So anyway, I talked to the investigator today to file my report.
Rusty?
Yeah. And he said he has committed no law, or no violations of laws. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's violated city ordinance.
Yeah.
He's like, well, unless the city is willing to litigate it, there's nothing we can do.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yep. Because I had a conversation with Rusty too, and he said that, animal cruelty or animal control went out there and they were refused entry, and the only way they can get entry is with consent or court, and so, they didn't have a good case to convince the judge for that, so there's not a whole lot we can do except for go down that road.
but I'm gonna talk to Nathan, my neighbor, see if he's put in a report. I'm gonna talk to Kelly, see if she's called and put in a report. Because the more reports that they have, the more it becomes.
Because did you talk to Brian Delich at all? Okay, because he's like kind of the guy that he's like right under Kelly, Lick, so, after I wrote a email to him, and he responded to me within a half hour, 45 minutes, and he said without, good evidence.
Well, between myself, Nathan, Kelly.
Yeah.
There's plenty of evidence there to.
Right, there's testimony.
Yep. And whatever other, evidence that the investigator has collected, other reports, because I'm not the only one, and there's several others that have. So I think it'd be, find out, see how much it's going to cost the city for litigation, but I think we should be able to.
We can't, since there's a quorum here, we can't go any further. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
This will be Kyle's first one. Where does that start?
He actually said he couldn't make it tonight, so September will be his first.
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, I noticed the agenda here has committees up top, but this is actually a budget committee, so we're going to move the personnel committee down past that and get right to the budget. With that, I had a hard time, figuring out some things when it came to the worksheets that I went over, because I was kind of inspired by you, Dave, to go and look a little bit closer at what things that are going on here. So, with the postage, and hopefully, especially you, Bernadine, can help me figure this out. I've come up with these numbers here that don't seem to want to add up, and so I know I probably made a mistake somewhere, but I'm just trying to figure things out here as far as how things work. So what I first did was I looked at the postage, and I looked at the receipts from the check register that was provided to me, and then I looked at the actuals for 16, because that's the last complete year that we had, as far as actuals go. And so I added up all the checks. You'll see at the top of there the dates and the amounts, and I would encourage you to check my figures because I went over them a couple of times. Plus the pack and mail, which I kind of figured was involved with postage as well, and I came up with that $982.65. That was the actual what we paid out for postage with the checks from the register. But then I looked at the actuals from the worksheet, which is attached, and I kind of am at a loss to the postage. I didn't mark the postage in there, but you'll see, and maybe you can help me out here, Bernadine, as far as postage goes. There's postage under the General Fund Financial Administration, which is, I didn't highlight that one. Postage and box rental for the 2016 is $512.59. And then I got, the next postage I got is, if I look down here, that's all for the general fund. Is there any more from the general fund as far as postage goes?
No, it should just be under the financial.
Okay. All right. And then I went to the fire fund, and postage there is $100.75, the actual, under postage, which, those two figures are reflected in the top right there, $512.59 and $100.75. And then I went to the water and the sewer and did the same. There's postage here for water of $510.71, and for sewer of $356.75, and those are reflected up in the upper right hand corner, which I come up with a total of $1,480.80. Comparing that to the $982.65, I get a difference of like $498.15. So I'm missing something here. I don't know how does that work? Is the actuals that are in the worksheet the actuals?
They're the actual from the end of the year.
Well, how are those determined, I guess? Because it doesn't, that actuals don't match up with the...
You must have missed something going through the registers.
I would challenge you to...
Well, and I would have to spend time and analyze it, but that's what my assumption would be.
Right, and that's the first thing that came to my mind too, is that I must have made a mistake. I must have made a mistake in the register, so I went over it 3 times. And then, whatever, and then I did the same thing with the Lake Country Power and the gas, and I still come up with discrepancies between the actual from the check register and the actual from the worksheets on that I've attached. And those I've I've highlighted there, and I'm just trying to figure out what I missed. Because like I said, I went through this 3 times, and I said, yeah, it must be wrong. It must be wrong. And I went through there, and I don't know where it would be.
What's the post office, what's the rental?
70 is what I saw with,
Yeah, I don't know.
the box.
I'd have to look. And if you want me to spend time and take his sheet and go through mine and tell you the differences, I'll do it, but I'd like a council motion to.
well,
Because I'm assuming I'm assuming you missed stuff. And also too, like, if you look at the $100 on, like, tracking Lake Country Power,
mhm.
just off the bat, the $100, the $290, those figures, I would assume those were probably repairs, so they wouldn't be listed on the electricity.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll analyze it and bring it back if that's what the council wants me to spend my time on.
Well, I just want to know what we're working with, because
Well,
No,
these are, the spreadsheet that I give you is the actual for the end of the year. And I balance it several different ways. So my assumption is you missed something going through.
right, and that was my first assumption too.
I understand, but, I know what I'm looking at, you evidently don't. I mean, and what I'm stating is when you're pulling the name, and, like, just by viewing that, I can see, okay, those amounts would be something different.
What do you mean?
And that's what I'm stating, I don't mean it derogatory, I mean, you're just looking through whatever, how you're analyzing the registers.
Well, when I look at Lake Country Power and Minnesota Energy Resources.
Mm-hmm. So like, and what I just stated is, those smaller amounts would be,
There's something wrong.
they would be under.
Right, repairs of some sort.
So they would be classified someplace else from what you're stating.
I
you're
would be
paying
right.
on.
Right,
Yeah.
right, but you take even $300-400 off of that, and that's still a difference of,
On
13.
1227, that's $367, that's no power bill.
What's that?
On 1227, that's no power bill.
No, that was the last, these are monthly bills. We pay a bill every month, right? And these are,
Well, yeah,
That
but if
816
you
would be a
compare, if you compare, George, you can see
bill.
there's
309,
$1,000 or more
816.
discrepancy in those ones you're pointing out.
and
right,
then a 9.
So that's obviously
Right,
going to be included in the electric bill, which this is electric.
they also do some estimates on electric bills and then adjust when they actually get the actuals, they
You're
adjust
saying it
the
could be
meter.
that?
I don't know what it is, but all I'm saying is that the amount that we paid for electricity does not match the amount that shows up in the actuals on the worksheet. The amount that we paid for gas, it does not reflect, that's a huge difference. $2,500 versus, close to $5,000, that's like a 50% difference. And so I'm
What are you questioning, George?
I don't know how,
No, what are you questioning?
I don't know how this is figured. I don't know, are these, and I would encourage anybody to look through and check my work, but I have a high confidence that these numbers for gas expenditures under Minnesota Energy Resources, that is how much we pay them, is $4,800. Okay?
And you're coming up with 2,300.
And on the actuals, that's from the worksheets,
Right.
And so I'm just I just want to know how it works, I don't quite get it, You know, because these are monthly bills that I've looked at, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 12 bills there. You know, and you can look on the sheet here, and that's what they come up with. You know, and it's way different than what is reflected from the worksheet that, you know, that is attached here. And that's from, yeah, I just don't know where that big discrepancy, how that's figured out. Because we're talking about money here, and we're talking about where money is supposed to be allocated and whatever. And, you know, so, yeah.
Well, for the gas, your register, your book register, we paid more than what the actual number is.
Yeah, according to my figures, we paid like $2,500 more than what is reflected on the worksheet. And again, I got the register that Bernadine gave me, and I looked through, and these, I checked these numbers, and they're pretty much right there.
Which one is?
Say for instance, the gas expenditures down there, the 48.95.11. I have high confidence in that number based on those 12 monthly installments, and we don't pay anything more than one bill a month. You know, I mean, so you know, like I say, I have high confidence in that 48.95.11, and then I look at, you know, the worksheet that was passed out, and this was from last year's worksheet that I had to work with, because we didn't get it until Monday, but, you know, I added up all the figures there, and, you know, you got buildings, which is this, and the garage, and wherever, I don't know, these are the amounts that we paid Minnesota Energy Resources, you know, and it doesn't match the amounts from the worksheet. And so all I want to know is what...
So should we authorize her to give us a month by month? Do you want to do that?
No,
Is that what you want?
I just want to know what's real as far as, you know, I'd like to feel confident that there's accurate numbers on these actuals. And I don't know how they're figured out. You know, so, because I don't see, you know, like when I went through here, for the gas, you know, there's the buildings, there's no street, there's the fire, and then there's gas utility, fuel utilities, and then there's the water and sewer. And those are the figures that are attached to that according to the worksheet. And it doesn't match. In fact, it's way off. So I'm just curious at how those, did we spend as far as I can tell, we spent $5,000, close to $5,000 on gas. Fuel for electricity, or for
Okay, on the
utilities.
gas, George, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
On your, the 216 actual, on the side there,
Where we
it
at?
says the total, right here, where
Okay.
you have this.
Yup.
And your total is $2,380.89. Is that,
Actually,
that whole thing right there? Because I come up with, when I add, I
Yeah,
come up
that's-
with the same amount that was in the checkbook register.
Really?
Yeah.
if you look when you did your totals, you missed the top one, the
Yeah,
exact
the building.
same amount.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's exact.
So that's
it's
exact.
total. Cross
Okay.
that one out.
All right, cross that one out. Okay, good. You're helping me here. All right, so that helps, you know. But okay, I like that one. 2,300. All right. And then okay.
Lake Country Power, we have those small amounts of.
So, Yeah, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14.
Right. And so you take out
The $100 one for sure.
Well, take out the two biggest.
Probably the 290.02 and the 1227 for $367.51. I really don't see that that was an electric bill comparing it
Right,
to the rest.
I don't know,
Comparing it to the rest.
that was the one that was written on the 27th of December.
Your number is 15,385.39 on your 2016 actual, on the LCP expenditures.
Okay, so that's another 340 bucks, whatever. But that's still,
So you,
compared to the 13.
your actual was 13,206.23.
Right.
What I got when I added up was 15,385.39.
This one?
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 11, 13. Maybe. Oh well. I appreciate you guys all bearing with me. You know, I just was inspired by it.
Try to be inspired. What can I say?
Yeah, but the postage kind of flabbergasted me too. I know. All right. Going to the budget. So the first item that we've got that I would look at is the change in the levy. Now we're going up. The proposed is going up. I don't know, like $9,000, over $9,000, 10.6% difference in the levy. Now, from what I remember, when we were talking about the bonding, and it was with Kevin and such like that, and I looked in the, it was I'm talking about the bonding for the water tower. There was a realization that we are going to we're going to have an extra $20,000 to spend because we've retired one of the bonds, and that I found in here as well. You brought it up. So my question is, why are we increasing the levy? I mean, we're already taxed pretty heavily in this town.
That's the Carleton County order, tax order. Not the state or the city. What now with the county taxes, isn't that extra levy that was introduced last month?
Would you like me to explain it?
Yeah.
Thank you. What it is you're retiring a bond payment of $20,475. The anticipated water treatment levy is $12,038 for the payment. That leaves a balance of $8,437. I added that into the levy. So you could, I know there's capital improvement issues that have been delayed because of wanting to pay off that bond. So that, technically, this increase results in a no increase in the taxes. It's going from what you're paying on your bond into your general fund. And that, it's totally your decision on how you want to handle that, if you want to lower it some, or if you want to actually use it for within the budget. But that amount is exactly $8,437, and that's the balance you have from the retirement of the other bond. So it results in a 0% increase actually on the levy. It's just reshifting the bond.
So the municipal levy is going to remain the same? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
But the okay. there's a total, the total amount of change is from 115 to 115,587 to 124,091 is the amount that has been increased in our receipts. So that's like, what? Is that the 8,437 that you're?
Well, perhaps it'd be a little bit, if you look at the local government aid, the very first line, it went up a little, $60 or something.
So, say, in the neighborhood of $9,000.
Probably more, 8,500.
8,500?
Add that 8437 to the 115, you had 124,024.
Okay, so it is close to the 8437. So we're getting that much more from a levy? Is that, so the difference in that we have in the receipts is from the levy, which is the amount of taxes that are paid by the people in town. So
Correct, what it would be is transferring the balance of the bonds into your general fund. You know, the payment that you levy,
The one we're paying off to the one that we're paying on to now, there's a difference between 8,437.
Right.
That's why there's no increase in taxes. That's the increase in the, in capital, I guess you would say.
so there's no net increase in taxes.
correct.
That's good. I like that.
And just to stress, this is your proposed, because I don't have the final numbers on the bond. You know, I did calculations, and it should be close to that. So there may be some when you do your final, little modifications, because we'll know the exact.
You
We may
know,
even know it by September.
yeah, and I'm going off my memory, but it went from annual installment from 9,000 to 12,000 is what I'm kind of remembering. Is that pretty close? The annual installment for the bond on a, what was it, 8 years or whatever it was?
Well, we ended up with 75,000 at 3% for 7 years.
Right.
So I did just a generic loan calculator, and that 12,038 is what the payment should be close to.
Okay, because there were some figures that were quoted in the paperwork from the last meeting.
So 2020 principal amount would be 9,000, 2021 10,000, 2022 11,000, 11,000, 11,000, 11,000, 11,000, 2026 12,000.
Right, so it went from 9 to 12, right? It started out at 9?
That's the principal though.
Yeah, that's the principal.
Right, okay,
And that's minus 3%.
yeah, okay.
So it'd be
So,
90,
whatever,
600 or something roughly.
yeah,
Calculated that 12,038 should be pretty close to what an annual payment would be.
and that would be a fixed annual payment that we'd be dealing with? The only thing that would be changing would be the principal and interest?
Correct.
All right, I gotcha. And you're saying it's 12 something, 12?
1238.
Okay. All right, well, just so there's no net increase in the taxes, I'm okay with that. You know, I mean, if the numbers add up and, you know, that's good. You know, so we'll be able to pay off the loan installment, and I noticed there's some capital improvement that went into here as well. So, all right. Anybody else got anything with receipts or whatever? That's the only thing I have with receipts.
Did the salary increase get in here? So we should do something on this before we go forward.
Well, what I'm saying is that before we figure out, and I move that to the end of the meeting where, you know, the salary increase, we'll go through and there's salaries here and salaries there, you know, and different wages and that, so. But it seems to me, and the reason that I moved it to the end of the thing, it seems to me that when you go to the store, you gotta figure out how much money you got.
But
So,
it's already in here. It's already figured in there.
right, but we haven't approved it
Right.
you know, so we've gotta determine, and when we go through the deal, we're gonna maybe cross that out or adjust that a little bit or whatever, but before we, you know, figure out how much we're gonna spend, we should figure out how much we got and how we're gonna spend it, is all I'm saying. That seems to be a more prudent and responsible way to deal with things, to me. So that's why I moved the wage negotiations to the end. Okay, anything on this first page? Anything else on this first page?
Well, what about animal control? We gotta talk about that.
Okay.
We gotta do something with those cats, and then when you get rid of those cats, you're gonna have a mice and rat problem. I can almost guarantee it.
Would that fall under the animal control, or would it fall under, like you were talking about before, more litigation type
Well,
deal?
you would need the litigation through the lawyer to litigate it in the courts. That's what's gonna end up happening. And then you're gonna need somebody to come in to get rid of the cats and the mice that are there. Because from my understanding, he's got garbage piled high to the ceiling in that building.
Mhm.
I mean, that's rumor. I can't verify that.
Is Dave in there yet?
No, they didn't gain access.
He did speak to him, he told him he would give him access, but they haven't.
He would give, I think, the state access, but he wouldn't give any county or local.
No, Dave spoke to him about going in about the meter, and he told him yes, he'd give him access.
Oh, really?
They're working on arranging a date.
Oh.
Which might be when hell freezes over.
Yeah. Is he
Anyway,
installing?
So-
He doesn't look healthy, I think.
I have
No,
no idea.
No, he doesn't.
And
I
maybe
heard that he is not.
maybe he doesn't want to litigate it, you know. That
Well,
could be another-
he's got to run out of gas, but
Are you
he's
thinking of-
stubborn too.
Trying to make him responsible for removal? Is that
Well-
what you're talking litigation? or-
Well, he's gonna, because we're gonna, you know, if the city goes after the ordinances of excessive cats or excessive animals,
Mhm.
that he's gonna deny, he's gonna
Yeah,
send it to
deny
court.
that they're his.
And he's gonna send it to court. Well, you know, I've talked to an investigator today, and George has talked to, you know, I think you filed a formal complaint, correct?
Well, I sent an email to Kelly Lake, and Brian Belch called me back, and I talked to Rusty, you
So,
know, French and whatever.
as private citizens, we're trying to
Not
get the
taking-
city or the county and state involved, but I talked to the investigator today, and he says there's no laws being broken, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, there is some city ordinances that he's like, that's, if the city wants to try to,
So it's up to
It's-
it's up to us.
We, you know, we tried, you know, I mean,
So would you
but,
just do the expense of tracking, or you would do the expense of trying to make him comply with the ordinance?
Make him comply with the ordinance, and then if that doesn't work, then we're not, you know, you can start to fine them as well, on top of just getting rid of, you know, if we have to attract the cats, we'll send them a bill. I think that'd be, you know, cats and mice.
And we're
right.
probably at the point where, you know, it is a community
Health hazard,
correct, you know, that
Well-
there should be action somehow.
yes.
Right, and there's more than just the nuisance that, you know, I mean, he's residing in a commercial property, which is against ordinances too. You know, so I mean, we've got him on a couple of accounts, I don't know how.
But we have no proof on either of them.
Well,
And that's what we
Well,
need.
right, and that's what a lawyer needs to
Myself.
tell us what we can do.
And if you have myself, you have the neighbor that's north of me, and then you have the neighbor that's north of the building, all corroborating. I don't know how else, that's proof enough, I think.
Well,
And with the county detective working on it, he'll give over all the information that he has now.
I guess the question here is, do we want to put it into animal control or pest control, or do we want to put it into, lawyer fees? I mean,
Maybe a little both, just in case. I think maybe,
Do you want to wait till January now?
well,
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 you're not
this
gonna be
is-
able to trap them until, the cats until April, until
And
it's
who do you plan on getting to trap these cats? There's no longer a Friends of Animals who would.
we would have to hire.
We'd have to hire.
Who, but you have to
There's-
hire somebody
There's best,
licensed.
yeah, there's,
Because you can't just go and say,
No.
okay, Mr. Jones, go get these
No,
cats. You
no,
can't do
agreed.
that because
Actually,
then we're in trouble.
last year, there was we actually got a paper from a pest control agency.
Right, yeah, he came cold calling to you.
And asked if we had any troubles.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think we said, no, we're trying to do something else. Well, that something else is, but.
It would be somebody either from Cloquet or Duluth that we would have to hire, that would be, like you say, licensed and whatever.
And I'm guessing it's gonna be around $1,000.
I think it would be more than that, they charge per cat as a rule, per cat.
Yeah.
No,
They just
I've
do it.
heard.
They don't give us.
They might. You know,
Well,
yeah, I've heard
per cat
there's anywhere from
and-
600 to 120 cats back there. Not 600, 60 to 120. not
What?
60 to 120 cats back
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's-
I think
But-
it's 6.
Okay, so, if we say, for instance, put under pest control, which is what I'm thinking that we would do it, $1,000, we would have to
I don't
look
think
at
it
thousand.
would be pest control though.
Where would it be?
Well, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Do you really want this worked into your 2019 budget, or do you feel you have an issue you need to
No.
address now?
there. Well, I think a little bit
I
of
mean, the
both.
longer you wait,
I-
the more
More
cats
cats.
there's gonna be, because none of them are spayed or neutered.
Do we have any money right now in the budget?
Well, I mean, you always have your cash flow.
Kitties, as soon as one batch is gone, they'll get
You
pregnant with
address it,
that.
like,
But I don't know.
I think we do something now.
I think so.
That sounds good to me,
Right now, you have to do it like
no.
tomorrow, because once October hits and there's snow on the ground, they're nowhere to be seen.
Right.
Same as last year, or it was I think it was either last year or the year before last, where the guy came out and he wanted to trap them, and he got nothing because it got too cold, there was snow on
Well-
the ground, and he didn't get a single animal.
Well,
Do they go into the structure then? Is that correct?
Yeah, there's, all of
For
that.
wintering?
He's feeding, I've seen the feeding plate,
Feeds them.
I've seen the feeding tray right in front of his door.
You think he lets them in, or are there holes that they
so,
did?
we're sitting
I
here,
think he's,
Kind of both, maybe?
he feeds them. He buys food for them.
yeah, well, we're sitting here at, just shy of September here, the snow's gonna fly maybe in 2 weeks, who knows?
I don't know about the weeks.
Well, it has before, so I don't know, but I'm saying, the clock is ticking quick for us to do something right now.
I think you have a month and a half if you want to do something else.
Well, I don't know if we got that long, you never know. Maybe we do, maybe we got 2 full months, but,
Because usually,
What do we want to do?
yeah, that's the question that I'm trying to beg here,
but anyway, I think we can still put it in the budget for next year, for just in case. We still have to deal with it next year.
All right, we're gonna have to
We're gonna have to,
trim $1,000 from somewhere else, if you wanna put $1,000 there.
and then I think, for the lawyer expenditure, I think, Bernadine should contact Frank to see how much it'll cost to litigate the, yeah. Do you think we should do multiple charges then? Not just the cat, all the
Yeah,
debris,
I mean-
litter, the.
The reason it was delayed about him living there was the cost of litigation.
I think
It's something that needs to be addressed, and we've exhausted all, possibilities except for, throw money at the lawyer to try and, as you say, litigate, and I don't know how else to do it,
I think, like I said, Bernie should contact Frank, see how much
$2,000 in legal fees set on the first page here. So, when do we have to come finalize this budget, Bernie?
The proposed, the levy has to be adopted at the September council meeting. The final budget is adopted at the December meeting. And what it is the proposed levy has to be submitted in September. You can go down in your levy, but you cannot go up in December.
Well, okay. So, I think, we've kind of agreed upon the levy, right? That's the 88,210 that we talked about. Up top, second line. So, that's, say for instance, with the number that you would submit to the auditor to fulfill the September requirement, right? But we, since it's no net increase in the tax levy on the taxpayers, I'm okay with that 88,210. Just so there's no freaking increases, that's all I'm saying. And that's the only number that's associated with the tax levy. Is that correct, Bernie?
Correct.
Tax.
And I guess to clarify your question, that listed there is the tax levy for the
And
general fund.
for the general fund, is there another levy that?
Well, there'll be your water, which I did forget to add that. I have a correction here for the water fund. It'll be that 12,038 for
Where's
the new
that?
payment.
Where's that?
It's not on there.
Would it be on the water?
What I'm saying is you need to add it to the water fund. There would be a tax levy of the 12,038 for the payment, and then if you add it to the bottom, once I know the interest and principal division.
So
there'll be the two levies, the general fund and the 88,210, and then the new bond payment.
So there will be a net tax increase with
No,
that, okay.
does everybody still follow? Because you had the 20,000, it's just being divided between the general fund and the water fund
Okay.
for the new, okay.
Right. But not the sewer fund. Sewer fund is out of that mix?
Yeah, you don't have a levy on the sewer fund.
Okay. I just kind of equate levy with taxes, I mean,
That's what it is, yeah.
Right, so if there's an increase in levy, there's gonna be an increase in taxes. That's the way I look at it, but you're saying that's not the case.
Okay, yeah, correct.
We're retiring one.
Right. All right.
So for legal fees,
Well, you're talking about going up 1,000 in pest control, you're talking about legal fees now. Now, no matter what we come up with those numbers, there's gotta be a commensurate and equal, trim somewhere else.
well, between the disbursements,
And in that regard, there's a couple of increases that I kind of am curious about, so like say for instance, office supplies went up $7,000, office equipment went up $500, improvements in there of 10 grand as well, under general government buildings. I'm looking at page 203 on the general fund. You guys seeing that, these deals that I'm talking about?
That would be street improvement, or anything, I think,
Well,
For what now?
the capital improvements.
Well, maybe we just kind of maybe back up and keep things a little
Yeah.
neater. If we start with the financial administration, you know, basically the increases I did are ones because we aren't covering what we're spending. So like the audit, you know, went up 200, went up a little bit on the bank service charges, stayed the same with the wetland agreement, the dues, we seem to be covering. And then, actually right there, I don't need the elections expense next year. So I transfer that one over, so there's 300 of yours that you can deduct. Legal fees then, so you want to increase that? You're thinking 3,000, 4,000?
Yeah, I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Okay.
That's
well,
why,
So basically then, you know, because I did add a lot to capital improvements, like the capital improvements under the general government buildings, figure we could start doing, you know, like this building really should be re-sided and start doing some of the maintenance on it. We still have the issue with the fire hall, so that's why I put, you know, the majority of keeping the tax levy the same, the majority of it went into capital improvements.
And
I
it,
see
as
that.
well it should, if we don't
right.
Yeah.
maintain it, it's totally gonna crumble.
Right, and, you know, that was my understanding through all the years of trying to be so lean, you know, and delayed maintenance was that when that note was paid off, then that's where it would be allocated. So if you did, you know, legal fees, you might end up with delayed capital improvements again, you know, just because you have an issue you have to take care of,
mhm.
you know, I mean, it's
Well,
fire homes,
I
it's a bad
think,
deal with it, you know.
I think for the capital improvements for the government building, I think we should leave that at 10,000.
I do.
Because we need to get that overhead
Yes, we
garage
do.
door fixed before it all caves in.
Yep.
But on the other hand, the improvements to the highways and streets, I understand they're not the perfect, but patchwork, I think we'll do for now until we finally get this. And then, once we get this building fixed, then the following year, we can take that and put it to the streets, or half that in the streets, or whatever have you. So I think if you take 1,000 off the highways and streets capital improvements, leave that at 1,000. So that gives us another 1,000 here to work with.
Okay, so if I drop that, capital improvements under highway and streets, 1,000, put the 1,000 into the cat issue.
That intersection over by the church over there, it was terrible, man. I mean, it was just nothing but a big puddle, and during one rain, and it's just going to, it's going to gravel. 2,000 doesn't get you very much patches, so I understand what you're saying. Buildings are more important than streets, but, you know, talk to those guys on the north side of town, and, you know, it's kind of a war zone over there to a certain extent.
So, I'm looking at the public safety, there's a wage there, 12,240, and then that, the recreation is still on page 2. See the wage at 7140. Who's those two go to then?
Those two would be Dave and Jerry's wages, or the public works.
And then also on the water fund and the sewer fund, they're both at 18,000 for both of them. So they,
Now, those, the water and the sewer fund would be all 4 employees.
oh, that'd be all 4 of them. Okay. Just checking.
cost of all the printing and all the, you know, the extra, it seems like we've been buying, you know, the cartridges a lot, and we just, you know, I increased it just because it seems like we're not covering our, you know, costs. You know, if we wanted to drop it 500, we probably could be okay, you know, so,
To put office supplies at 15.
yeah, you know.
Well, that's, oh.
Yeah, I just, we're already at 13
Yeah.
at the end of
Right.
July, you know, so.
Right, and then office equipment, what falls under that? for five?
Office equipment, $1,000 now, we need a new computer, Diane's computer needs to be replaced next year. And I budgeted 1,000, I believe we can get one for that.
Does it need to be networked, or is it just a standalone?
So,
Just a sample.
Because there's, you know, you can get a lot of computer for $1,000, that's for sure.
so you think we could drop that office supply to 1,800? Because this year we are, for 2017, we had, or 2000, well, it was 2017, we dropped it to 1,600, we went down to 13. So, and keep it at either 16 or 18?
Well, we'll go 17, and then we'll,
For the office supplies.
for the office supplies, yeah.
And then take that 300 and push it up to the legal?
And then, can we drop 200 off of the computer price? You can still get a good computer for $700.
But that's not saying that's the only office equipment we'll need.
What else
Just a
will we, what
computer.
else will we need?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I know you can get them fairly cheap, I can, you know, try to find deals and, you know, may be able to come under that, but I also look for something that life expectancy is gonna be there.
Right, yeah, I get that too, but they become obsolete as soon as you find them too, you know what I mean, so,
After 6 months.
yeah. So if we knock, say, draw that down to 800
Okay.
and draw the office equipment, or office supplies down to 1,700, that would give us 500 total to add to the legal.
So far that gives us 1,800. And we added to it.
No. Wait, what are you talking about?
I put 1,000 of that under the cats though.
Oh,
So not
Yeah.
illegal. So far I have, we added 800 to the legal and 1,000 to the cats, or to the animal control.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
so 800 for, what are we at with legal?
Right now at legal, we would be 2,800
Okay,
and $1,000 under animal control.
all right. Do we still need to trim?
Yeah, I don't know if $800 will get you much.
2,800.
So far, we have 1,000. I don't see much more unless we go start the legal now and use up the 2,000 we have for the rest of this year.
Mhm.
So, and then, so that would give us an extra 1,000.
So,
That's a possibility too, if we start the legal action this year. So we could use part of this year's legal fund for it and roll it over to next year's legal fund. So there's 1,000 left in there right now.
Right.
9,500.
950.
Yeah, 950.
Yeah. So,
So that would be an additional 1,000 on top of that. So I think if we bring it up another 1,000, I think we'll be okay. So,
we can't just roll over into the next year though, can we?
No, but if you start using it up.
Right, we need to get it in before 12/31.
Yeah, if we start using the legal fees now for
Yeah, do some groundwork, whatever.
this whole, for what we're working with.
So,
And that way it'll, won't cost as much next year, because it's already started this year,
right,
so.
right. So, we've got, now, correct, did we take stuff out of streets? Is that what you're
Mhm.
going on?
There was
What do we-
2,000 on there. That went to the cat.
Alright.
But I got a feeling that we gotta up the snow removal. Because we're gonna be over budget this year from the 1,400 that we actually budgeted.
What do you got?
Yeah,
You got an inside track?
that one's,
We already used it up, but we still have October, November, December.
and that's kind of one of those things that you,
Oh, yeah.
You just don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it, you know, some other things you're under budget and you're, you know, some things you're over budget and, you know, as long as we don't go over the total amount, kind of play and move, you know, so. But yeah, it's, that one's, you never know.
Yeah, because you look historically and we've been under.
Yeah, under, luckily, but if you go back to what, 2012, where we had 6 feet of snow,
Yeah, excessive.
I remember I actually had to shovel my roof off, or not I, but I remember I had to shovel my roof off again. When I shoveled off, there was 3 feet in spots.
But, so, the only other increase that I saw was under, and, you know, where would the difference between repair and maintenance supplies of general government buildings and capital improvement, what is the thinking of a $500 increase in that, I guess? On general government buildings, repair and maintenance supplies.
If you look the last 3 years, we've gone over.
Yeah, we've been going over,
This
Yeah.
year's, we're already over
we're already over it now, so.
by $200.
So,
And,
it looks like we're sitting at around 2,300. So if we, you know, just point that in a historical deal at 23, that's another $230.
But we still have 4 months to go
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah,
and we're already over budget.
if you think,
right.
lumber prices are going up.
I'm just trying to, you know, look at, you know, filling the legal fees a little bit more, you know, I mean, 'cause we're gonna have a battle with that, with them.
Where you have, on page 3, under other insurance, you have that up $2,000.
Oh,
From,
where?
yeah, this year's adopted 6,000 and you proposed 8,000.
Yeah, and we could possibly try 7 on that, like, you
Because,
know, it's just if you take the 2 years and chances are maybe one went into the other, you know, if you do the average, it'd be 6 something,
but this year's only 17, 19, so, I mean,
yeah,
So far.
it doesn't, November's usually our big payment for insurance.
okay.
Oh, is that from the League of Minnesota Cities Trust Fund?
It'd be, yeah, liability, property, workers' comp.
Okay.
So if you take it down to 7 and then
Put that into legal.
put that, and I think we should be good.
And then that brings legal up to what?
3,800.
3,800
Okay.
plus whatever we have left, what we have this year left.
Yeah, right. Well, and then, you know, that, on that page 3 of 3, you know, looking at another big, jump, or whatever, what are we looking at for city vehicles capital improvements for $5,000?
That city tractor has to be replaced. It needs to be. I mean, if OSHA came in, you're gonna get fined again. It's-
They've already been in once and find us, or?
Pardon? No, that was the fire department. So, but it has safety issues and it needs to be replaced. And it has, you know, just put that amount in there. I think we're actually good, depending on what he can find. I know he's looking, from past years, what we have allocated to that. So, you know, we're getting.
What do we use it for?
Yeah, what do we?
We move the table and know that.
Yeah, he uses it
Sometimes-
for snow, I think, you know.
Snow removal,
yeah,
because I mean, if we get a lot
Use
of.
the truck.
Yeah.
They do, but then if it gets piled too high, they can't, you have to move it or make it.
What if we contracted that out?
Yeah, that's, you know, because that's a big hunk right there.
You don't get, unless you buy a used one, you're not getting a new one.
No, she's talking about contracting it. She's talking about
Hire somebody
some guy with a,
For doing what?
to move these big snowbanks that we might.
If they accumulate?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what if I plan on buying a tractor, so.
Well, there you go, we can contract too.
Well,
You're cheap.
I'll do it for free.
There you go.
I would.
$5,000.
I would do it.
There you go. All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, just loan me the $5,000, so I
Oh,
can get a tractor.
You're not understanding the situation here. We're trying to save money. We're not trying to spend money. You want to get rid of cats, right?
I also don't want to get fined by OSHA either.
Well,
No.
that's why.
And, right, but
Yeah.
she brings up the point of, what, you know, what justification for a tractor,
They moved the tables.
right?
To where from where? For what?
Well, like even, you know, when you store for the winter, I mean, you know, how do you move
We
them
don't
here?
get them here.
Yeah.
You know,
And they go out to the building?
he usually puts them behind here.
Right.
The restitution workers. CIP.
Yeah, I mean, I
For
still have,
$5,000.
yeah, it seems like a lot of money just to
I
be
mean,
picnic
my
tables.
brain. Here.
And then, yeah, I mean, you'd have to ask him what else he uses it for. I know that, you know, they take it out quite a bit, so I really haven't paid attention what they use. You know.
Like, you know, fill the potholes in the gravel road to the pump house, or not, or the ponds, or sewer ponds that are made.
Could we get away with it for 1 year not having it?
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't seem like there's justification there for $5,000 from, you know, that I can see yet. You know, maybe there is something else that, you know, the tractor has utility that, whatever. I mean, it's nice to have a tractor, it's nice to have a lot of things, but do we need it is the question.
For this year, if it's, you know, maybe it's snow removal, or if we're moving the picnic table, can we just contact CIP, that you guys come out?
Well, you don't always have them.
Right. I mean, you know, if we allocate, you know, or a contractor, put an ad in the paper for part-time, you know, whatever, some equipment, you know, guy, I mean, you know, you'd get a lot for $1,000, I would think, but, you know, the amount of hours that we're talking about, that I've heard so far, moving picnic tables and maybe doing a little bit with snow removal.
About one fall, I think.
I don't know, he gets gravel and uses a bucket.
Yeah, like I say, we need to, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Well, we still have,
Talking about replacing it with like a, what do you call it, little buckets.
compact building tractor.
Yeah.
Or a skid.
Or no, one of those
Skidster.
skid steers.
Yeah, you can't buy much of a skid steer with
You
$5,000.
get a used one for close to that. They say I don't like prices.
Well, there's more than that allocated for it, you know, because it's been in the budget for a few years for replacement. And then the locking money is to go to that too.
I know last year, for this year, we have 4,900 already allocated for it.
Mhm.
So could we take off 3,000? And then that'll give them pretty much 7,000 to buy a used, you could buy a used compact tractor
How are you getting 7?
from last year. Or can we not use for last year? Is that just
Yeah, yeah. It's been allocated for that purpose, so
Okay.
so you want to go down to 2 or 3?
Well, that's better with me as far as that goes, you know, if we can, if we've got issues.
Where you want to go down to 25, split the difference,
Okay.
cut it in half,
Put the 25 into legal?
just in case we have some old ones in there. And that way,
Putting 2,500 more into legal.
yeah.
Sounds good to me.
We're up to 6,300.
Hopefully that should cover it. Hopefully.
The expense.
Isn't that 63?
Yeah.
Isn't that, okay. I didn't hear right, I got old ears. All right. Insurance, anything else on the page? Did we finish page 1 and 2? Um, right, did we finish 3, page 3? The general fund, because I don't know that I have any more, questions about that. Everything else was. So general fund's taken care of, is that what
We
we did?
could probably trim off $400 of the mayor and council.
What we got here?
Right now, we're at 2,450. We still got a couple months left, and that's another over here, 3,900. Okay.
Yeah, we,
Well,
well,
4 months we have left, so.
oh, when we look at the
It'll be this
historicals on
quarter
that.
and then next
Mm.
quarter.
Oh,
Last year was pretty, I think we cut off 400 of that, 39, and then take that and put that into the snow removal. I think we're gonna need it. Put it at 30, 35, and then move that 400 up to the snow and
So what are you saying? Out the 3,900, take what?
400.
That brings it down to 3,500. That historically is right in the middle of 16 and 17, pretty much.
Yeah, I think this year will be close to that, 35.
So I'd say, what we gauge on that, so. we get down-
Remember, we can always add more, we can't add more. We can't add more in December.
On your levy,
Yeah.
On the levy.
on the levy, you can
Yeah.
modify your budget.
Yeah.
You can modify your budget at any time.
Just not the levy.
All right, so you're saying 3,500 for, which frees up 400.
And put that up to the snow and ice removal. So that's about 1,800 for the snow and ice removal.
All right. What else? Anything else on the general fund?
So the planning and zoning commission, they didn't spend any money last year
Or, yeah, or this year.
or this year. That's $400.
They get paid once a year, don't they?
Yeah,
So,
last year I didn't get any receipts from anybody in meetings.
Yeah, we haven't spent anything this year.
is there a pay schedule for members?
It's $20 a meeting and $25 a meeting for the chair.
No.
So, what,
Why
was
was
there
there,
quarterly?
wasn't there anything,
I think I showed up. We showed up, didn't we? On a couple of occasions.
I don't think there was very many meetings.
well, the last couple months we've had
Quite a few.
quite a few.
Right, but for
Yeah,
17,
in
I
December
know
is
I,
when I usually ask, Diane to get me the listing of the meetings.
Oh, okay, so that's what that was, okay.
well, I know I showed up to a couple meetings and I never got paid, but it's not, no big deal, but.
I didn't know you got paid for it.
Yeah, in December,
Oh.
once a year.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, exactly. December. Maybe.
Well, whatever, but I thought I had from last year too, because it was,
I don't think it was,
yeah, because it was me, you, and
was it?
no, Pickler was on it, and there was another guy that came a couple of times too. But anyway, you get it, you know. Diane, there's meeting minutes somewhere that I remember. Anyway, are we done with the general fund?
I think so.
Alright. Now, the question I had for this, with the fire fund, is when you guys met in February, is this what they adopted for the budget for 19? Is that what you guys talked about?
Mhm.
Okay. And there was no discussion on, say, for instance, the wages, which seem to still be out of whack.
Nope, they accepted everything.
Hmm. Okay.
What was last year?
I didn't bring the spreadsheet here.
Well, it's in your, I just gave you that, it's in here.
The two, we're gonna be starting, that new fee
Oh, I
schedule
didn't
for
get-
the membership that's coming into play too, so. I know that was part of the discussion at the meeting.
What was the discussion?
About paying the membership.
Oh, that's right, yeah. In fact, we approved that. Okay. And has there been any accounting of that as far as how much there's been paid out from to date for the fire fund? Has there been any, you know, because in the other spreadsheets we're looking at, you know, from January to July, you know, what's been paid out, and I'm just wondering if there's been any accounting of how much wages have been paid out for 2018.
To the fire department?
Yeah, to the fire department, the way, under the wages line item.
Yeah, there would be, I didn't bring that, you know, because historically I just brought this one because it's been approved by the fire commission. And it's usually just, you know,
Well,
but,
if you look at the wages, 2014, 15, and 16, they're all pretty close. And 2016 was a little.
Right, but,
So,
you know, because I think the chief gets 2,400, and I think the assistant chief gets like 400, you know, at the end of the year, and the training officer gets like, I think it's 200, 300, 400, 600, 400, and, so that's, I don't see where else there's wages, you know.
What do you think of the minimum wage you're getting now?
Right,
plus I have wages when I work for a fire department.
Coded that way.
Same with the guys, if they're doing something in there, it's coded to fire department, same as the other funds.
so, like $8,000 worth of, you know, that's quite a bit of wage for the fire department to, you know.
Now, sometimes I do a lot of work for them.
That's historical average, roughly,
You know,
for it, so.
you know,
Let's see the capital improvements, now, does that capital improvements, do they help pay for the garage door then?
Well, what they did here, yeah, they would, for the repairs of the garage door and any work, yeah, anything that would be that side of the building would be coded to them. They started budgeting now to get 2 sets of turnout gear.
Yeah, I see that.
right, the turnout gear is definitely a difference. Didn't they take out the telephone one?
Well, they did after, yeah, so.
So why is that still a $600 deal?
Because this is what they adopted, so I didn't change it.
Okay,
But yeah, it, you know, did the extra $600, and Kyle's aware of it. You know, I think he planned on using it for something else.
You can probably put that towards the capital improvement, if it's gonna cost more than $6,000 if we put 2 headers. Both the garage door, so.
capital improvements equipment though, that's the, what is that?
Well, he didn't define it, he just, you know, put it under that label. I don't know what they use it for. And I'm sure they could even use it for the building or whatever. You know. Technically just capital improvements.
Yeah, I just don't know. And so if, yes, so capital improvements, equipment for, was $6,050. So was there any money spent, from 18 for capital improvements equipment?
Well, that, you know, just explain to me, I don't have the spreadsheet here, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, because there was, well, I was just wondering where the money goes, you know, because I mean, if it's not used, it, you know, it should be, go somewhere.
It's in the bank account,
Well,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, was there, I don't, you know, I don't even know what capital improvements equipment might be.
You'd have to ask Kyle, I guess, what he has in
But
mind.
we're, right, but it was, what I'm saying is that in 2018, we had exactly the same amount, $6,050 that was proposed and I believe adopted for the 2018 budget. And I was just wondering what that would be for this year. Would that, you know,
Well, probably his turnout gear that he ordered and the helmets that he ordered. You know, I don't know
Yeah,
if
he
there's
said
been
it
other
requires
hose,
budgeted for.
you know, there might have been hose and stuff, I don't recall. Certainly something that can.
so that turnout gear is a separate line item
That's what
than the capital equipment.
they didn't have.
Capital
There's
improvements
two
equipment.
lines there, yes.
The last year, this is the first year that they added the turnout gear to capital improvements.
Right,
Previous years they didn't. They didn't budget it in.
yeah, but I'm still not sure what capital improvements equipment would be allocated for.
Fire equipment, fire hall.
So-
Fire equipment, you think. Just whatever needs to be fixed.
Not repair and maintenance.
Or something else, because that's a government building, that's the city's building. You know, so, if you got capital improvements equipment, you're talking about like trucks or pumps or, that's what I would think.
I guess you're gonna have to ask Kyle.
Yeah, that's Kyle. He's the one that allocated that money for that.
Yeah, actually, this was Nick, but maybe
Or
Kyle
Nick,
got the
yeah.
information.
You know, because my
Yeah,
understanding
okay.
for capital improvements are items that can be depreciated over time. So, you know, like a truck, it's worth something and then it loses as time goes on and wear and tear goes on. And it still has an asset value, but it depreciates. And that's what I understand capital equipment to be. So, and buildings is a little bit different. All right. So where are we at?
The water fund.
All right. And you said there were some adjustments to the water fund?
Add 12,038 as tax levy, and then add 12,038 as debt service. Excuse me.
Okay, so.
So, under receipts, tax levy, you're adding 12,000, what?
38, 12038. And again, that might change when the final paperwork comes in.
And where does that show up with the,
Yeah, what line, or under what column, do we put that proposed or no?
Yeah, the 2019 proposed.
Okay.
Mhm.
and how does it balance?
It's 83,036. Both for receipts and expenses.
So, with the, let's see, you got 2,200 for water tank maintenance, that's the tower, right?
Mhm.
Well, with it being, hopefully, being done this fall, I don't know that we would need any maintenance on that, would we?
Annual cleaning, or trying or biannual, because they're not going to clean it this year because of the maintenance, so we moved it to next year.
Right, but we're gonna be coating the inside of it, so I mean, it's kind of gonna be,
You want to wait 2 years before you clean it again?
well, we didn't do it this year.
Because they were going to be on the agenda to do it, but they postponed it until 2019 because of the relining what the improvements were doing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should keep up on it.
Mhm.
I mean, what's the sense in refurbishing it or whatever we're doing to it, whatever you call it, if you don't do the.
Right, well, my understanding of what's happening with the water tower is that there's going to be a coating that is going to go on the inside that will prevent the rust or
So it never has to
stuff.
be cleaned again?
Well, it's like, I'm not saying it never has to be cleaned again, but it's like putting a new coat on the inside of the tank so that, you know, what has happened before, again, my understanding of it is that during the winter, it freezes and scrapes off the inside of the rusty tank. And that's where all the yuck comes from, the Shrek water, whatever we got. And so if we're coating the inside of the tank with polyrazzmatazz, whatever it is, some high-tech coating, you know, that we're paying good money for, hopefully it'll work so that rust won't be coming out. So the only, and my understanding from the well, you know, the water's not too bad. You know, I mean, it goes through some filtering and whatever, so, you know, and it's pumped up there and, you know, it's not too bad. So I don't know that, and I wish they were here to explain it to us, but, you know, we're already spending $70,000 for, you know, the interior of the tank, which is
But it's
a
like a
problem.
preventative thing. to
What
have it
do they
cleaned.
do? What do you do?
They clean it. They do,
Is it-
I've
is it necessary
I've
that
never
quick?
watched them.
I think that's a good question that we can ask them.
Yeah,
Plus,
'cause,
it's an inspection of the tank itself too.
Mhm.
And if there's any, you know, like the rivets or the steel or anything that needs to be maintained, then you know.
right.
It's when they come in to do it, it's not just totally
Yeah.
cleaning, it's an
Well, is it-
inspection and any repairs too.
Well, isn't that what Central Tanks is gonna do? That was, because there's some repairs that, and from what I remember, you know, I'm, you know, old memory, but, Dave said it's structurally sound, the rivets are good, you know, the steel's, you know, good gauge and everything like that, you know, and it's a structurally sound, tank, and it's also got, you know, some safety features that are gonna be added on, you know, railings and cage around the ladder and stuff like that, you know, that would follow OSHA stuff, you know, I mean, so, and, you know, I just don't see where we need, you know, any maintenance on a pretty newly refurbished tank. Because it's on a biennial basis that they come in and,
Or is there a warranty or something that they give us?
or something, I don't know, you know, I mean, it seems like it's you know, it's like a new car, you know, I mean, you don't need an overhaul, you know.
But you have to do routine maintenance.
Like
what?
On
Change
any
oil.
vehicle.
Change
Change
oil.
your oil, you have your brake fluid, you have all that
You
check.
gotta change your brake.
Right.
You
Maybe
don't
it's
just
not-
drive it till it dies.
No, we've.
So I guess, I don't know, I think we do need to do that, and it's up to everybody else, but I think it's an important thing that we just
But
do
what's
a
that,
maintenance.
what's the thing, you know, that you're talking about that needs to be done?
They do a maintenance check on it, George.
Right,
They
and what is,
do it every other year. I believe even we were on the schedule for 2018, now it's moved, and it's always in the fall.
Right, but I would
So when
think
you
that this
think
would,
about it, it's gonna be a year down the road
I
that this
would-
is done.
right, and I would think
It's not
that,
gonna be done.
You would think that we'd be able to skip next year. and then
right,
get back
that's
on
what I'm saying,
schedule.
to get back on the 2-year schedule, because this would be like the maintenance, you know, the new refurbished tank, and then it's every other year that does it, so next year, that's in 18, so 19 we can hold off, and then 20, we go for the, you know, the checkup. You know, it's what, that's, you know, it's $2,200, I don't know where it's going though. Because this year we haven't used it, but we're gonna be
Because
spending,
they haven't been here yet, they were supposed to come in
right, and
September
we're
this
spending,
year.
we're spending $75,000, you know, this year for that deal.
That's fine.
You know, I'm just saying, it's a, you know, that's my take on it, I think we can wait until 20 to do it.
Will that, our contract with them allow it?
I'd have to read it.
Yeah.
I can
It's not really a contract, it's a
Yes, we
maintenance,
have a contract with these.
it's a
people.
maintenance agreement with McGuire Iron. Who,
It's a contract.
well, they agreed to a price if we hire them, yeah. It's not really a
No, we
contract.
signed it.
No, we signed a contract
Year
with
contract,
them.
so, we'd have to look at it.
Yeah, I'd check into it to make sure that we aren't breaking the contract.
If we told them not to come, they're not gonna, you know, come anyway. It's called a maintenance agreement, you know, and this is the price that they guarantee if we hire them. That's what a maintenance contract is.
This is a contract we entered into with them.
Well, I'd like to see it, because the one that was shown to me before was a maintenance agreement that says, if you come and do the tank, we'll guarantee that this is gonna be the price that we do it, you know? So, anyway, I think we can hold off, you know. What do you guys wanna do?
I think it's worth checking into it for $2,200.
What's that?
I think it's worth checking into for $2,200, that's a lot of money if we don't have to spend it.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, it's worth looking into, see if we have to clean it this year or not. It's mandatory. Or if our contract allows it. For contract. For contract.
Yeah, I'd like to see the contract.
But I think, we can shave off $150 off the telephone expenses.
Where are we at? Telephone expenses.
From 900 to 750. Because right now, last 2016, 2017, it's only been $655.
Go with how much, 700?
750. We got an extra 100 in there just in case. So our chemicals should go down too once we,
Yeah.
Again, we'll have to talk to Dave about that, because
he
there's.
even said he's dumping more chlorine into it.
I thought that Polly, whatever, I forgot the name of it, that he's feeding is the most expensive one.
I know he said he was dumping more chlorine because of the rust. He was dumping more chlorine into the tank than what he should be.
Again, we'll have to talk with him about that, because there's certain, whatever, noise, I don't know. Anything else on the water fund? So we still gotta check on the maintenance, water tank maintenance, and we knocked a little bit off of the telephone, and we still gotta check on the, see, we asked Dave about the chemicals. 500, that's a lot of money. But,
From my understanding, there's nothing more chlorine to get rid of the rust.
we've been, I don't know, yeah, we're over even now, but I don't know. All right. On the sewer. Back to the water, because here we've got a line item that says repair and maintenance contract for $2,000. Wouldn't that be the,
No, that's for water breaks.
for where?
Or if there's a water break and this contract has to come in. We just usually just put the 2,000 there. As you can see, it usually doesn't cover if we have one. Some years we get lucky.
I noticed electrical went up $400. Why is that?
Well, the actual in 2017 was 2649.04.
About the lab fees. Right. Anyone?
And capital improvements, what's that one about?
That's just where to put the difference from the income to the, so we can start building the fund. Actually, part of it might go to getting, we were running the red for a while, so to get the checkbook back up to where there's, in case there's emergencies.
So so you're saying it's just a kind of a, where you dump stuff where it's not needed, or
Well, it's where the debt service, we had the loan that was paid, and it was just stayed status quo because we're needing to start paying for, or saving some for like replacement of your pumps or maintenance of your pumps, or, you know, there's
Unexpected expenses, basically, that's what.
yeah.
right, because
And both the water and the sewer fund have been running so tight, you know, the water fund's still in the reds, but, you know, just trying to gain some of that.
So you're saying that this 11.42 money, we haven't used anything in the past 16, 17, and 18. So and I didn't see what we budgeted. We haven't done anything with that, so is it like added to a fund then? Is it added to the sewer fund? If it's not used?
It stays in your fund balance.
Okay. So, and you can't go back and forth with the sewer and the water.
No.
Why is it the sewer fund? Water fund has it. Telephone. Is that also, for the telephone, it's all the same, $655.92 for the telephone expenses. Is that, are they separate buildings and you get charged separately?
The sewer fund is the emergency line.
Okay. And then the water fund, so it's all charged
Separate lines.
separate lines?
So, well, they're separate lines, but on the bill, it's just divided by the funds, because it just comes in one bill.
One bill?
Right, so,
And that includes the internet also, so. Or excuse me, not the internet,
so.
we got a discounted rate on the phone to include, we could have internet through them, we don't use it because we get it from the Moose Tech. So, but it was a cheaper rate to do the package than to get just the phone.
So, I'm looking at, again, the capital improvements, it's a big number, so I'm kind of looking at it. And we had adopted 15,725 in 18, but we only had $2,000 and $2,000 in 17 and 16. And we have not used anything out of that fund for 3 years, whatever, 16, 17, 18, 3 years to date. And we're allocating 11,420 into that. So say for instance, we go through this year and we don't spend any of that 15,725, where does that end up?
In the sewer fund, stays in the sewer fund.
Stays in the sewer fund. Okay. And where is that number, so I would imagine the $2,000 and the $2,000 and this, so there's at least, close to $20,000 somewhere, in the sewer fund, at least, depending on what happened before that too. So where does that end up in a number? Say for instance, the audit, something like that.
Probably your cash balances.
On the cash balance?
Yeah. It stays in the sewer fund. If you look at like when your monthly reports, your cash reports,
Okay,
if you look at the checkbook, it's in there.
okay.
So that was, we just have extra money in the sewer fund, all right?
Well, yeah. It's in the checking.
Yeah.
This would be the best way. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it, but it's
Well, I'm
understandable.
just,
Yeah,
so, what he's saying is, the money's there in our sewer fund, for this year it would be $15,000. And previous years, whatever else was,
Yeah,
so,
usually it's been, the 2 or less.
yeah.
Well, I guess my
So
So is it necessary to put 11,000 in?
yeah, why is it so big?
Well, I'm just asking is because if that money's in there, and we have that money, can't we lower the sewer bill?
Well, you probably, let's see, how do I say, how would I do this? The rate was set, if you look at the last payment was what, 2016 was the payment that made the difference in the levies, or in the debt service.
Mhm.
So, to keep those payments going, the checkbook, the funds were, you know, well, the water fund I don't think has regained, but the sewer fund was really tight. So basically, you just, within the last year, you've started to gain, where you're getting something there for emergencies. Realistically, that balance, you should try for, say, 45% of what your budget is to have on hand. And then also,
About
like,
20,000.
yeah, and then also, like, these capital improvements, you do have, you know, your pumps, your facility itself that you should be budgeting for and putting aside for replacements.
It's like-
So, yeah, you know, it's your decision, you can technically say, okay, we don't wanna do that, and we're going to lower the rates.
Yeah, cause
B.
I look at, you know, we've got a sewer bond from '99 that as of, and we paid in 17, the outstanding January 1st of 17 was $28,000. We only paid $1,000 off of that in 17. So we've got an outstanding balance, I guess it's just principal, as of December 31st in 2017 of $27,000. So what is there, it seems like, you know, and it's in an interest rate of 3 1/4. And if we've got monies, I'm not saying to pull, you know, 15 plus 11, you know, $1,000, but if we could knock some of that off the bond, you know, that would save us some interest money. You know,
But it's nice to get, we went through some very, very tight years, and it's nice to get something in a reserve, so in case your pumps do go down, you have something there to replace it. You know, prior to paying off, otherwise what's gonna happen is something fails, it's 20 grand, where are you gonna get the money?
Yeah, we won't have the money.
No doubt, no doubt.
You know, this is probably one
I
of
get
the
rainy
first
day fund.
years.
I get a rainy day fund, you know, I mean, I like to have a little bit of cash on hand too. We're looking at, you know, a total budget on an annual basis of $56,000, and I'm seeing that apparently, you know, using this, yeah, go ahead. Using this, we got 15 plus 4, that's 19,725.
We just round it up to 20,000.
Okay, so 20,000, plus we're allocating another 11,000 on top of that, so that's, you know, over $30,000. That's well over half of the total budget. And so I'm just saying that we might be able to afford to pay more than $1,000 off of the bond on an annual basis.
It's totally your prerogative.
You know, I mean,
You know, if you wanted to, you know, 5,000, you can allocate to it.
you know, I like to pay my, you know, I'd rather not have banks make money, you know, if I can afford it.
You know, 32,000 currently, well, with next year's allocated, take 5 of that, that'll put us to 27 in the account that for,
And it would still, yeah, if we take 5 off of that, yeah, we'd still have 20 something. What'd you say?
27, roughly 27, give or take.
Yeah.
$1 or so.
So, and,
I just rounded it off.
so, yeah, I mean, I'd like to get rid of debt if we could. You know, I just saw some opportunities here, and, there's no penalty for paying early on the bonds.
As long as you pay it the first of the year.
Okay. What do you guys, I mean,
I'm okay with allocating 5,000 to the bond payment. That'll bring the bond payment down to 22.
Yeah.
Which bond payment are you,
The Geo Sewer bond of 1999.
okay. Sewer bond in 1999.
Goes out to 2035.
Okay, that one's actually split between water and sewer.
Well, there's one that's split between water and sewer, and there's this one it just has sewer on here. I don't know.
Okay, there's one of sewer, total sewer.
This is the one I was talking about right there.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Okay. Seems to make sense to me. I don't know. So, and what, we have a month or two to cross the Ts and dot the Is on this deal too, I think. That's what we're looking at. To come up with a finalized adoption of the budget. What, till October? November?
September for proposed.
September.
For proposed.
Final December. For
Okay.
final.
Yeah.
Add any more, you always take away in December.
On the levy.
Just the levy needs to
You
be
can't,
in.
after that, after September or December, that we can't go up on the levy.
Correct. The proposed is in September and you cannot increase it, but you can go lower in December when you do your final.
For the levy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we could find out if we can allocate $5,000 to that bond, I think it would be a good idea. If we've got a little bit extra scratch, we'd still have $25,000 in the rainy day fund, so to speak. Anything else on the budget, that is?
Now, the repair and maintenance supplies and the repair and maintenance contract, what are those for? I see that in both of those, in each of 16, 17, and this year, we haven't even come close to those
Again,
numbers.
those are ones that, you know, basically could fluctuate. Your contract would be if there's any repairs that need to be made, somebody else would be called to come in to fix something or dig something. So yeah, we've been doing good.
So when we go under, like we have been with those two items, where does that dump into as far as, where does that come out?
It just stays in the fund.
So it would be staying in the fund, just like your capital improvements that are not spent,
Anything.
stay in the fund.
Anything that's in the budget that you don't spend stays in the fund.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
And that fund balance is what you give us on a monthly basis at on the statements that you generate.
Correct.
Okay.
it's a repair and maintenance contract, you could drop that to 1,000 and still be sufficient.
So, say for instance, if we do what he, what you,
That's, yeah.
what'd you say?
We've already used up 886, if he wants to
Yeah,
drop it
but-
down to 1,000.
You know, 1,300 in the last 3 years has been the most,
Right, yeah, 3,500 is a lot.
yeah.
So,
I'm
say,
not saying drop it 1,000, I'm not saying drop it, you know, to 1,000 or anything.
so, say for instance, we take on what Dave suggests here and drop it 1,000. That would put things out of balance. So, where are we under?
It would just go to capital improvements, for instance, it would drop
Or-
it that, or so you're just,
So, what's the, right, we could put it in capital improvements, or we could put it in, wherever, but what if I'm understanding this correctly, it'll just, even if we allocate $2,500 instead of $3,500, we're only gonna be spending a fraction of that, and everything over it is gonna go into the sewer fund anyway. So I don't know where are we making money on the deal? Because we still got these receipts up here of 56,000, you're still gonna have to come up with 56,000 on the disbursements. You see what I'm saying? Anything we don't spend just goes into the sewer fund anyway. Whether we put $3,500 on it or $2,500, we only spent 1,000 of it. I don't know. Help me under. I don't know. Is it to our advantage to do any changing of the numbers on this? I guess would be my question. Other than like taking out of this capital improvement, so to speak, say for instance, and putting $5,000 in the bond fund, we're getting rid of debt. So that won't go into the sewer fund. It'll go into the payment of the bond. But anything we don't spend here is just gonna go into the sewer fund. So whether we propose $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever, we're still gonna be, if we're under, it's gonna just be dumped into the sewer fund. I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a. Is there an advantage to doing what he suggests here, Bernie? To changing that $3,500 on the repair and maintenance contract to $2,500?
Or where did you want 1,000? You want
To
to
go.
go debt again,
It would still have to go into one of these
No.
items,
It
right?
can go anywhere, can't it, that $1,000?
or? Well, yeah, I mean,
Like we did with the other one.
yeah,
It could go in, but on this, it's gotta stay in the sewer fund, doesn't it?
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
You'll just go under, take that 1,000, just put it under capital improvements, add to the capital improvements,
Okay.
that's all we'll do.
Okay.
What now?
So he's looking at changing 3,500 under contracts
To 2,500.
to 2,500.
And then putting it on capital improvements where we just knocked 5,000 off of that.
Well, we did not know.
Well,
Well,
yeah, but
putting it
we're
on, right.
proposing, we're thinking.
Something else, and then adding 1,000.
Right, so it's,
Or you take that 1,000 and add it to the debt service.
Debt service, okay.
It don't matter, where, you could either put it
Right.
wherever. You could either put it to the debt service, or you could just keep it into the fund. But right now, as of the last 3 years, we haven't even come close to reaching 3,500.
no doubt,
Mhm.
no doubt. And again, if we could add it to the debt service,
So instead of 5K, you allocate 6K to the debt service.
I'm up for that. Getting rid of debt is good. So you wanna do that? I'd like to do that. So we took, supposed to take 5,000 out of the capital improvements and 1,000 out of the contract, repair and maintenance contract. for debt service principal, or whatever it is, principal and interest. Or whatever that's paid. Yeah, because last year on the sewer fund, that one was the one we paid off, I think. Is that the one we paid off? We paid in the sewer fund? Was it a sewer fund? Those, general, 2010. That was this one. So, I don't know. So general obligation, refund. Because this one from last year paid 18 grand. Or we adopted 18 grand. 18,350. Oh no, that was 17. That was 17. We only, oh, forget it. Never mind. So, alright. Other thoughts on the budget? Are we done with our work on the budget? Take silence as a yes. Alright.
As long as everybody's in agreement.
I think we went over and basically everybody stated what they're doing. I think we can do an agreement on things. So then we're gonna, do the personnel deal. Personnel negotiations. So, do we need to close the meeting, or what?
I would say turn your recorder off.
Well, if it's a closed meeting, then definitely, yeah. But if, we're not gonna close the meeting, we'll just talk about it.
Is that an issue with privacy rights? That wages should be on the website, right?
I guess it depends on what type of discussion you're gonna have.
I'm just going to ask about, how you went about figuring out, performance, kind of thing, whatever. So it sounds like it probably be closed.
You're gonna ask us that question, yeah?
Yeah.
Should we vote then? We're gonna ask about personnel.
So is that, yeah. So is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion's made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Close the meeting at this time.
Do you have those reviews on that?